what's incredible about my sisters up here and all of us is, I mean, we ran not one dime of corporate dollars. Like, we ran with no corporate PAC money. We ran talking about our immigrant stories, our backgrounds, our parents. I mean, every time Ayanna talks about her mother, I tear up. We talk about these forms of oppression that we've all gone through in our lives, in our workplaces and everything. But we ran just as we are, with nobody coming and trying to, like, you know, they tried. And I'm like, no, I don't want your money. No, I'm gonna be just like this. So even not only in the halls of Congress, I'm gonna tell you, even in Detroit politics, they're like, oh my God, Rashida won. Yeah, I'm gonna push back against you spending money on a hockey stadium downtown Detroit, while a mile away, not a few blocks away, there's a school with no drinking water, literally shutting down the drinking fountains. So it's also the fact that even on the grassroots level, that transformative change that was happening, organizing in the streets of Detroit, all of a sudden just reached the halls of Congress, right? And so believe in that movement. You are part of this new era that understands it. Yeah, we're always, you know, I hate when they say outside. No, we're an extension. We are such an extension of what you all are doing. Plus, you all give us credibility. I grew up in like a UAW household, and I remember my father talking about, you know, just economic oppression. And it was an African-American Baptist pastor who said, you know, Rashida, this country is not divided. And you could just say, this world is not divided. We're just disconnected. And in our movement work and in everything and how we see our lens, like, it's sometimes you almost want to clear the glass so that people understand it's the same people trying to oppress me is trying to oppress you. And one of the things he talked about in kind of labor organizing in the plants, as he's at Ford Motor Company, is when you walked in, you weren't black or white. You didn't know where people kind of lived. You didn't know if this was a returning citizen or this was, you know, what people's faith were. You were part of one family, the UAW, right? You organized, and it was one big move, you know, just big organization against the corporate greed, pushing back and saying, I deserve human dignity, I deserve to be able to take care of my family and all those kinds of things. I think globally, the economic oppression that is happening across the country, and you see kind of labor organizing, working class coming together and fighting and saying, we can do it if we come together and just fight against this common, I think, enemy of corporate greed, of this othering, of saying you deserve less than, you don't deserve to feel, you know, whole. And that's one thing about my father, who only had 4th grade education. And when he came to this country at 19, he literally never got a paycheck until he got into the plant. And then the UAW made him feel like he belonged because he was part of something bigger than him. He was showing up for others all of a sudden when he was part of this big, large family. And I feel like a lot of just our mere presence there is also showing up for others that are outside the United States. And there was a young girl, she was 8 years old, in Sacramento, California. Her name is Ilhan, and she's Palestinian American like myself. And she was kind of doing this thing with her jacket. Yeah, she had like a blazer. But you know, Ayanna, like, as a mom, I'm like, oh, she wants me to recognize her blazer. And I was like, well, Ayanna, I love your blazer. Look at it, it's so cute, you know? And she's like, I'm trying to look like you. And then I was like, forget Congress, you got to run for president of the United States. And all of a sudden she was like, And I thought to myself, though, at that moment, and this is kind of connecting, of like how much it's bigger, like I'm showing up somehow for her and I don't even realize it.